Hi everyone, we're going to talk about how to build a real Starship Enterprise. Uh, in this series, we'll cover on warp drive. Actually, I just read through some articles and then got some idea from a YouTube video. So I'm going to share this with you on how to do it. Okay, first of all, you need an engine that uses dark energy to warp space and time for 7 extra dimensions to form, making travel to planets and stars faster. So you just warp the space and the time into a small 100 cubic meters, and then they will just travel through that wormhole or that what they call black hole or wormhole. So they just travel through it and then just go straight to the planet using this kind of technology. So you must need to have, and then the materials that support it must support electric and magnetic fields. They are metamaterials. Okay, so now let's go through some. Okay, let's go through some of the. Okay, now my this. Okay, so we'll just go through some of the articles. Okay, this is a warp drive is built using metamaterials to reach a quarter of light speed. This is a paper published from technologyreview.com. So they talk about this. Turns out that they already know the metamaterial to use, and then they already know the metamaterial to use, and then just to travel at quarter of a light speed. So, but then if you use the dark, that's why if you're not sure whether what happens, maybe we can send a probe. My idea is to send a probe which has warp drive, and then just send it to it, and then have a piece of human tissue to see what happens to the human tissue. That would be great. You can clone a human tissue, and then you can clone a human body there, and then see what happens. That will be like with organs and everything like that. But then it's just a body. That's what I thought about if you want to test the warp drive to see any side effects, because there's a lot of radiation happening around. There's a lot of radiation, there's a lot of fields which will cause discomfort and may cause health problems. So they may need some sort of shielding. So this is the worm. This is this is the aircraft which is like the which is I think this is actually just graphically created. I'm not sure whether they exist. NASA collaborated with artists. This is just the artistic view of the craft and how it looks like. So you can see here it moves like this inside the wormhole. So you can see that there are some warp space and time. So they just move within the warp space and time. So it's called the Arcube. So this Alcubierre is actually a Mexican physicist who actually theorized this kind of space travel. So he's one of the important characters in this space era. So NASA did say space travel still remains a dream, according to NASA just now in the article at NASA. So so the US military have released a study on warp drives and faster than light travel. Here's what theorists they come a lifetime, zero chance that it will happen. But then the Alcubierre has already got the metamaterials, has already got design plans. I suppose it's possible to utilize dark energy and manipulation of extra dimensions. So they just shrink the space and time so that it can move faster. So it's just about shrinking it. So it's a repulsive force that is pushing the users apart at faster speeds. So it's a reverse energy. I think it's using a reverse dark matter energy that actually you can create a warp drive. It's very interesting. That actually, I was thinking, why do they get this idea of using the warp space and time? It's actually through Einstein's understanding of space and time. It's his EMC square theory. So I think they are using this. They have a very complex theoretical formula to actually do this warp drive. So the warp drive is possible. If the warp drive is possible, then the colonization of planets and building of space stations is possible. So the one who actually has tapped onto warp drive would actually or has successfully created a warp drive would be the one who actually has the power to go to the different galaxies, and will actually the whole space economy will be his if you can do the warp drive. So this is actually a YouTube video which talks about can you build a warp drive in a garage. There's this professor in the university in USA that actually has a warp drive in his garage. He's creating a warp drive. So let's see what he has to say. We'll just watch.
It just might be sitting in a garage in Omaha, Nebraska.
My name is Dave Paris. I'm the president of Space Corp Dynamics, LLC. I also teach college at 4 other different universities here in the local area. So kind of a busy guy, but we're also in the development of a functional warp drive.
And warp 1, Mr. Sulu. Accelerating to warp 1, sir.
Warp drives have been a staple transportation method in sci-fi for decades. But can it ever be fully realized? In someone's garage.
Where are we right now? What is this?
This is the most compact laboratory that you'll ever be in. It's a makeover of a garage.
This is where David Paris has been working on his warp drive for years now. You're in this garage, which seems pretty low tech. Do you think that impedes people's belief in what you're doing?
It's the old expression, you can't judge a book by its cover. Well, just because it's in a garage.
So he's working in his garage to build a warp drive. I think it's possible because if I'm not wrong, he teaches physics. He should be a physicist, and he has this company that is called Warp Drive LLC. So that's very interesting. He wants to become I believe he'll patent this technology when he created it successfully.
Doesn't mean we don't have high-tech equipment here.
Technology when he created it successfully.
Doesn't mean we don't have high-tech equipment here. We have some of the most advanced electronics sitting there in the other room. I got a very strict budget, and I got to make do with what I got. We're very creative. We stretch $1 more than anybody can. I love hardware stores. I love lumber yards and stuff. We do a lot of things just like what Robert Goddard did in his rocket development. And he used to go to hardware stores and do adaptive engineering. That's what I do. Most people don't believe what we do. The proof will be in the pudding when we lift this craft off the ground.
The craft is Bluebird 2, and Paris hopes it will be ready for its maiden voyage by the end.
So this is a craft that he built his building that can travel to warp drive. Well, interesting. It looks like an alien craft, Does it look like an alien craft to you? I think it looks like an alien craft.
Of 2015. Well, it won't be a maiden voyage as much as a maiden hover. He hopes to lift it off the ground a little bit. Is that the ultimate goal here? Is to make a spacecraft?
Well, that's my ultimate goal. I intend to go to space. I intend to go to the moon, and go to Mars, and have some fun. But I'll be back before lunch.
What is a warp drive?
We are artificially inducing the compression of the fabric of space. Normally that's done with mass, like a black hole, the sun, the earth. The mass actually compresses the fabric of space around them.
That's what Einstein discovered. His theory of general relativity states that all mass warps space-time. The greater the mass, the greater the curvature of space-time around it. Even you and me are warping space-time just a teensy bit. Paris's warp drive would do the same thing, just without the mass. And when I think of a warp drive, I think of Star Trek and sort of sci-fi.
So does everybody else.
Yeah. So it seems like, something that maybe shouldn't be possible. How does this, what you're doing here, relate to that type of warp drive? Is it the same kind of thing?
It generates a field, yes, but it's not quite the way they describe a warp drive. Back then, Alcubierre wasn't really around, describing his theoretical principles.
Yeah, Alcubierre he came up with
1994. He came up with this concept and was ridiculed heavily by the scientific community.
Miguel Alcubierre was and is a Mexican physicist.
This is Matthew O'Dowd, host of Spacetime. Oh, he's also an astrophysicist.
So now they're going to talk about Alcubierre. He actually has this metamaterials that I said. He's very smart because he also needs the materials. You need to know material science as well. Besides knowing physics, you need material science knowledge. So yeah, you need metamaterials that can take the electric and the magnetic fields. That's the dangerous part. But also, what happens when people are in it? What is the danger? What is the health deterioration if they are exposed to so much magnetic and electric fields?
Most famous, I guess, in at least popular consciousness for a paper he wrote in which he described a space-time field in the language of general relativity that was capable of faster-than-light travel, his warp field.
Called the Alcubierre drive, it could warp the geometry of space-time in such a way as to allow a spacecraft to go faster than the speed of light.
Although it's impossible for anything, any object, energy, information to travel through space faster than the speed of light, or even at the speed of light. There's no such limit on the speed that two regions of space can move apart from each other.
Instead of accelerating a spaceship, the drive compresses the space in front of it and expands the space behind it, effectively moving the ship by moving all the space around it.
The ship itself, on the other hand, would never technically move faster than the speed of light. In fact,
So, in summary, actually shrinking the space in front of them, and then they are moving towards it. As you can see from what I showed you in the GIF diagram, that they are shrinking the space in front and then moving. So they don't need to travel at the speed of light. They could have very strong engines that make it even faster, can travel even faster as they shrink the space. So this is about the system. Please leave your comments below if you have any thoughts, and please subscribe to my channel for more updates. I hope this has been interesting to you on how a warp drive can be made. It's possible. It's not talking about, like you say, arbitrary. It's not talking about something theoretical. It's practical. It can be done. So if warp drive is being made and then can be powered up by my machine, which is the thermoelectricity machine using the calendar reapers, maybe that will generate a lot of energy to boost with an aquaponic system in it, a ship, a bigger ship. So I'd like to end this video, and I thank you for watching. Bye bye.